Hello, my name is Mary Ann Lutine, and I'm the Director of the Pro-Life Office for the Archdiocese of Boston. Welcome to this Living the Gospel of Life series, where we will be discussing church teachings on the life issues and also highlighting examples of Catholics in the Archdiocese of Boston building a culture of life. Our guide will be the remarkable encyclical letter written in 1995 by the late Pope John Paul II entitled Evangelium Vitae, or the Gospel of Life. As Catholics, we're all called to be pro-life and to work toward building a culture of life. But how should each of us answer that call? We come from different ages, life experiences, and family commitments. The culture in which we live is often hostile to a pro-life worldview. Sometimes, even when we want to get involved, we don't know how to help or where to go to get involved. If there is one single church teaching document that best describes to us what it means to be truly pro-life, the Gospel of Life is it. The Gospel of Life sets forth a compelling Catholic vision of life based on the dignity of the human person made in the image and likeness of God. It also speaks very frankly about the real threats to human dignity in our modern world and concludes with a stirring call to become people of life. Let's start where John Paul II does, back in the first book of the Bible, in Genesis. His starting point might surprise you. He doesn't begin with the beautiful account of creation or the happiness in the Garden of Eden, or even with the first sin of Adam and Eve. He turns instead to the 4th chapter of Genesis and the story of Cain and Abel. He begins with this story to teach a very important lesson about our contemporary culture. Let's quickly recall the story. Abel was a shepherd. His brother Cain was a farmer. As was the custom, both Cain and Abel brought the first fruits of their labor as a sacrifice to God. For some reason not stated directly in the story, God preferred Abel's sacrifice. Cain got very angry and then killed his brother Abel. When God asked Cain, "Where is Abel, your brother?" Cain tried to avoid responsibility for his action and replies, "Am I my brother's keeper?" God punished Cain for his crime, but still held out the promise of his mercy by placing a mark on Cain to protect him from death by those wishing to avenge the murder of Abel. The story of Cain and Abel has universal significance, John Paul tells us. It is a page rewritten daily in the book of human history. Anger and envy get the upper hand. Brother kills brother. Conscience is dulled. After Cain killed his brother, the Lord confronts him and asks, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground." In the Gospel of Life, John Paul suggests that the Lord is asking this same question to us today in order to make us realize the extent and gravity of the attacks against life which continue to mark human history. He recounts a list of grave attacks on human dignity in the modern world, including war, genocide, poverty and malnutrition of children caused by the unjust distribution of resources, the scandalous arms trade, the reckless tampering of the world's ecological balance, and many more. Few would disagree with this argument, but then John Paul raises the argument to a different level. He calls us to focus particular attention on another category of attacks affecting life in its earliest and in its final stages. When life is taken through abortion or euthanasia, much of our contemporary culture does not regard it as a crime. Instead, it is upheld as a right. John Paul terms this phenomenon the eclipse of the value of life. In an eclipse, the position of the moon blocks the light of the sun. Even though the light is there, we can't see it clearly. Many people accept abortion, embryonic research, and euthanasia as individual rights because they do not clearly see the value of each human life made in the image and likeness of God. Their consciences are dulled. If we as Catholics want to live out the gospel of life, we need first to clearly understand and then take to heart the true vision of human life as Jesus taught. I came that they may have life and have it in abundance.